Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. I'm Mama Mudhoni, mommy to almost 2-year-old Mudhoni. I'm soon to be a mommy of two. Did you catch my video? I think last week when I posted about my pregnancy announcement and how the pregnancy is doing. If you haven't watched it, please watch it. So I'm soon to be a mommy of two. I'm super excited about that, like so excited and so scared at the same time. I can't believe I've been a mommy for 2 years. I can't believe that I'm going to be a mommy of two. Like, who made me a mommy of two? Who even made me a mom? But anyway, I'm so excited. I'll just show you how we're doing. We're growing. Baby's growing well. And today I'm going to talk about something that's really been requested for a very, very long time. And that's about routines and how I got Modoni to sleep through the night at a very young age. How I got her to only wake up once a night when she was about 2 weeks old. How I got her to sleep from 7 to 7 when she was less than 6 months old. And how I did it is that I put her on a routine. There's so many routines out there, guys. There's the Fab. You can use the Faber method. You can use the Baby Whisperer method. You can use Sleep Sense. You can use Gina Ford, which is what I used. I used this book, which is a Gina Ford Contented Little Baby book. And then it says The Secret to Calm and Confident Parenting. I learned about this book from some of my friends who'd used it for 2 of their babies, some of them 4 of their babies, and they swore by it. So I decided to try because, why not? I wanted to sleep. I have always loved my sleep. I wanted to have a calmer way of dealing with my child. I wanted to be able to sleep better at night, and I just wanted my child to be able to sleep better so that I'm better. It was actually more about me than my child. I really just wanted to be well rested and to be calm, and I just felt that if I was okay, then my child would be okay. But if I was always tired, then I would transfer that to my child if I was grumpy. I would transfer that to my husband if I was grumpy, and I just wanted to be a better person for myself and for my family. The reason why most people use routines is for saneness. I find that the baby-led method is, and this is for me, by the way, let me just again put a disclaimer. If you've decided to use attachment parenting and you decide to use a baby-led way of feeding and sleeping, it's okay and it works for you. But for me, I find it to be a bit too much and a bit too tiring, and I didn't want that for myself. So the biggest reason people use programs is so that they are less tired, because with a routine they know exactly what time they're going to do things, and mostly it's between, they have 3-hour routines or 4-hour routines. Gina Ford is a 3-hour routine during the day, and then at night it's free. So it lets the child lead you now at night. The Gina Ford principles is basically you follow the ease method, which is eat, activity, and then sleep. Sorry, let me just look for the words I'm trying to use. It follows a strict time of your baby being awake, which is what all of us should be doing, whether you're doing a baby-led method or program method. Your child should only be awake for a certain time. Gina Ford is a bit ambitious with how long she thinks a baby should stay awake from the time they're about 2 to 4 weeks. She asked for a baby to stay awake for 2 hours. Modoni was not able to do this. When I tried, it was so disastrous. Like Modoni was sleeping so well at 2 weeks, at 3 weeks. And then when I decided to move to the 3 to 4 week routine, it asks for you to keep the baby awake for 2 hours. And it was hell on earth. She was waking up every, I have heartburn. She was waking up every 30 to 40 minutes, day and night. And I just couldn't handle it. So I gave up on the program for a while. And then I spoke to my friend Shiro. Shiro is a doula. Shiro does, she has a company called Nurturing Moms. She's a doula and lactation consultant, but she had done Gina Ford with 2 of her babies. She was really helpful. She made me join a forum for Gina Ford on Baby Center, and I could ask her any question anytime as a friend. Again, she doesn't do sleep training, but there are sleep trainers out there. So Shiro now advised me to go to the baby forum, and on the Baby Center forum for Gina Ford, they spoke about how Gina Ford was so ambitious with her timings, and that's where now I learned that I needed to go back to the 1.5 hours of awake time. And when I did that, it was perfect. And we did that for a very, very long time because I was just too scared to move forward. Anyways, what I was saying is the Gina Ford method is based on eat, activity, sleep, and on a certain amount of awake time for a child, and on a certain amount of nap time for a child. Children need nap times until they're around 4 or 5. And that's why you'll find all nursery schools have nap times, because it's important for their brain development. You'll find that most people who tell you that my child does not sleep at night, mimi mtoto wangu alalange mchana, need kulala mchana, mtoto wangu kata kulala mchana, you'll find that those children have issues sleeping at night. And most of them will only sleep at night maybe for 7 hours or 8 hours, while a baby should be sleeping at night for around 12 hours and a minimum of 10 hours. So your child must sleep, as in, I can't even stress that enough. Your baby needs to sleep during the day. With Gina Ford, again, I'm not sponsored. When your baby is a newborn, they sleep for about 5.5 hours during the day, total sleep time with 3 naps. By the time the baby is 1 year old, they're only sleeping for 1.5 to 2 hours during the day, with longer awake times, which is about 4 hours awake time. So your baby starts with around 1.5 awake times. That means if your baby wakes up at 7, they need to sleep by 8:30. If you find that your baby is crying to sleep at any point, then you kept that baby awake for too long. You need to find out how long your baby can stay awake. And how you know this is, if your baby wakes up at 7, time. Maybe you've woken up at 7. At what point does that baby start yawning? Mother needs to start yawning at 45 minutes-ish. That changed when she was around 8 to 10 weeks. She started yawning at 30 minutes, which was very tiring for me. So she'd start yawning at, let's talk about the average, at around 45 minutes. So I knew by the time it was 1 hour 15 minutes, then I needed to start putting that child to sleep. So she'd yawn, and then now when she got more tired, she'd start hitting her ears. And the point at which when she starts crying and hitting her ears, it's murder. I'm done. As in, she can cry for half an hour because she's overtired. Now for me, trying to put her down to sleep when she's overtired was now another 1 hour or maybe 1.5 hours trying to put her down to sleep. It was actually quite disastrous. So you need to learn exactly when your baby needs to sleep. And babies are different. My baby, Modoni's awake time and this other baby's awake time will be different. Even if you have twins, their awake times may be different, although most kids are more or less the same. You can Google awake times and it will give you the range at which your baby should be able to stay awake. So that's the first. So first principle is easy: eat, activity, sleep. Awake times, total nap time also determines how much they're able to sleep at night. If your baby sleeps too much during the day, then they won't be able to sleep well at night. If your baby sleeps too little during the day, they won't be able to sleep well at night. It's just a funny cycle. Sleep begets sleep. A baby who's well rested during the day will sleep well at night. If a baby is not well rested during the day, because again I see a lot of moms on Facebook lying to each other that you need to reduce the sleep time of your baby to 1 hour and they're a newborn being 0 to 3 months. If you do that, then your baby is not going to be able to sleep at night because they'll be too tired to sleep at night. But if you make sure your baby sleeps well during the day, not too much, well during the day, and sleeps on time at night, and you make sure that they're not awake for too long before they sleep, then at night they're going to be able to sleep. I think those are the 3 principles. And feeding. Your baby must feed the most during the day. So between 7 a.m. and 7 p.m. or whatever time works for you. It could be 10 to 10, but it's a 12-hour window. It could be 8 to 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. That's the amount of, during those 12 hours, your baby needs to feed the most during those 12 hours. Gina Ford used to have a feed at 10:30. So again, between, let's say, 7 a.m., your baby is waking up at 7 a.m. to 10:30 p.m., your baby needs to take the most amount of milk during that time. So that now at night, they're able to stay longer. Another thing with Gina Ford, and she keeps emphasizing this, your baby will only sleep through the night when they are physically capable of doing that. You cannot force a child to sleep through the night. When a child's body is able to withhold enough nutrients, when the baby's body is able to neurologically sleep, then they're going to sleep. You can't force it on them. You can't force a child to not feel hungry. If a child is hungry, even with the program says when the child is genuinely hungry and you will know the child is genuinely hungry, then you feed the baby. You don't not feed the baby because it's not yet time to feed. Sorry, heartburn. Because it's not yet time to feed. Let me just get some water, sorry. So I was saying that if a child is not ready to sleep, they won't sleep. The other thing that she really emphasizes on is putting your baby to sleep when they are not yet completely asleep. So you put the baby when, again, you don't breastfeed to sleep. Remember, it's eat, activity, and then sleep. So apart from that, when you put your baby down to sleep, you don't put them down to sleep when they're completely asleep. So you don't rock to sleep, you don't soothe to sleep. That way when the baby wakes up later at night, they're able to soothe themselves back to sleep. Another thing she really emphasizes on is if your baby stays 3 days without feeding at a certain time. So let's say with a newborn, she says that you're supposed to wake up at 2:30 to feed the baby. So when the baby, let's say, is 1 month, they stop waking up at 2:30. For 3, 4, 5 days, they wake up at 3:30. So that means if on day 6 they wake up at 2:30, you don't feed them to sleep. You take them, you hold them for a bit, and then you put them back to sleep, and then they sleep. If they refuse to sleep maybe for about half an hour, then you feed them. But if they're able to fall back asleep, sometimes the babies just wake up for soothing. If they're able to fall back asleep, then you put them down to sleep. Then the next time they wake up, when it's closer to 3:30, then you feed them at that time. That way you don't create unsustainable habits to make the child now go back to thinking that they can wake up at 2:30 and feed. That way you're able to push the timing for when they feed longer and longer. And I think that's basically the main principles of it. She talks about pumping. Oh yeah, that's why I started pumping early. The book, again, this book suggests that you start pumping on week 1 because babies go through a growth spurt at 3 to 4 weeks. Milk goes down at 6 weeks biologically. So at least by the time that time comes, you have enough milk for your baby's growth spurt at 3 weeks, and you have enough milk for when your milk goes down, because at 6 weeks when your milk goes down, it goes down and you start producing just exactly what you've been using. So what you've been pumping out, your baby has been taking. So let's say you're at 6 weeks and you haven't been pumping, your milk will go down. At around 8 weeks is when now you're trying to pump to go back to work. Of course, you don't have enough milk. So that's another thing she really emphasizes on. I have a video on this, by the way. I'll put the link down below about pumping and why you should start pumping early and storing of milk. It's a whole long video. That's now a whole... I'll put the video link down below. The other thing about having a routine, I think, as a Kenyan mom, I experienced this a lot, was backlash from my mom. Backlash, it's not at backlash, but it was backlash from my mom, backlash from my in-laws, backlash from, actually just them. Most of my friends didn't have kids. Because I just didn't understand why I was waking a child up, why the baby had to sleep at certain times, why the baby had to do this and do that. But if you're sure you want to do a routine, just stick by it. Don't listen to all these people. Just push out the noise. As in, I slept better than they did when they had their kids. Modoni slept better than I did when I was a child. But you see, because all our parents and all our siblings and everybody just knows about feeding on demand, then that's the only thing they know. And they're telling you not to do it. They're not telling you because they hate you. They're hating you because they don't, not hating you, sorry. They're telling you because they don't understand this other method. So the best thing to do is to just stick to your guns, find people who are like-minded and speak to them about it. Because one thing I always used to be told was, why are you doing this thing and the baby can't sleep well? You're not going to sleep very well when the baby is out, or doing what? How often do you go out on during a week? For me and my family, we generally just go out on Sundays, even those days. And I used to ask, I can't plan my life based on going out, yet I only go out once a week. Or rather, go out with Modoni once a week. That's around 52 days in a year. So I have 300 days when my life is perfection, when my baby is sleeping well. So I can sacrifice these 50 days and we can just go, Modoni will sleep shagala bagala. And for these other 300 days, we are sleeping well and I'm sleeping well. So for me, it doesn't make sense for people to say, oh, don't put your baby in a dark room because they won't sleep well when you go for a wedding. Or don't make your house quiet because your child won't sleep when you go to a noisy place. How often are you in a noisy place, surely? So for me, it worked. Also, Modoni was just born in a quiet place. Me, I don't like noise. Even up to now, I'm still not being able to sometimes deal with Modoni's noise. I know that I'm going to adjust to that with time. But Modoni was born in a quiet house. I didn't like noise. My TV was rarely on. Most times it was just me at the beginning. I didn't even have a house help. When the house help came, we never used to sit and talk. She never used to have the radio on. So it was just a quiet house. And it worked for us. So you do whatever it is that works for you. This program might not completely work for you. Read it, take the principles, and work it around for you. Work it around to whatever works for you. Like for me, I took this book, and then when I needed to adjust things, for example, at 4 months, there's a 4-month sleep regression, which is hell, terror on earth. There's a night Modoni woke up 8 times between 12 and 7 a.m. As in, is there even enough time for that to happen? So what I did around that time was really read about sleep training methods and all those things. And there are things like shush part, where when the baby wakes up, you just shush them on the back. Let me just show you. You do shh, shh, without picking them up. And this helps them now go back to sleep. And sometimes you can do that even before the baby reaches the 40-minute sleep cycle. I think I need to do another video about sleep cycles. And it's the reason why most babies wake up after every 40 minutes. Okay, heartburn will be the end of me. The reason why most babies wake up after every 40 minutes is because they're not able to link their sleep cycles from this cycle to the next cycle. And again, it's something that you need to teach them. So Modoni, how I taught her actually was using the shush part method. I'd go in during her nap when it was around 35 minutes in or 30 minutes in and just shush her like shh. Let me just show you again. So just shush her shh, shh, shh. So now when it got to the 40 minutes time when she was linking her cycle, now she'd be able to link. I did that for about 3 days. Again, when she was going through the sleep regression at 4 months, I brought her to my bed. There's something called, gosh, it's in this book. Let me just find it. I've remembered. It's called the assisted to sleep method, where you basically sleep with your child and hold that child through naps and through sleep. It's supposed to be for something you do for almost a week. I only did it for 3 days for both times she had issues. There's a sleep regression at 4 months, there's another sleep regression at 9 to 10 months. The 4-month one was worse. So I use the assisted to sleep method. There's so many things that you can include in your sleep training that you don't just have to follow one routine. I never use the cry it out method. My God, I don't even know how people do it. I put Modoni in a sleep routine without having to use the cry it out method. So don't let anybody lie to you that you must use the cry it out method. It's not compulsory. I once tried when I was trying to win her off the pacifier. She cried for 10 minutes. I was not able to do it ever again. I've never tried it again. Other people use it. It works for them. It's not something I think my heart can handle. And even with the cry it out method, there are so many ways to do it. Just Google. I don't think there's anything else that I've left out. But me, I'm an advocate for routines. I'm going to do it with this baby. If I get 5 other kids, I'm going to do it. Anybody I speak to, I'll just tell them, you put your baby on a routine and learn. The best thing you can do, even if you don't do a routine, learn your baby's awake times. Because if you do that, if you learn how long they can stay awake, and then just limit their daytime sleep to maybe 5.5 hours when they are small, to maybe 3 hours when they are older, you're going to have an amazing time. So that's what I did. Modoni by 5.5 months was sleeping 7 to 7. Oh, we did what's this thing called? Dream feed. So a dream feed is when you feed your baby when they are asleep. I started doing that at 2 months. Around 2 months when you had already introduced the bottle. I have another video about when to introduce the bottle. So we give her, like, you just pick her up when she's asleep, you put the bottle in her mouth when she's asleep, she sucks, you burp her, you put her back. So that way she was able to sleep 12 hours from 7 to 7 without waking up at all. We dropped the night feed at around 10 months, that 10 o'clock bottle at about 5 months. And yeah, I don't know if that makes sense. Let me know what you think. When did your baby sleep through the night? Ask me questions. I think it's easier for me to answer questions than to tell you just what I did. And then I'll do another Q&A question about sleep training. And I'll answer your questions about that. Tell me what you did, what worked for you, what you didn't feel worked for you, what you think you'd do differently about... Guy, I talk too fast. What you think you'd do differently about training your baby to sleep, and let's talk. So see you next time, guys. Remember to like this video, share the video, and subscribe. Bye, guys.